Hi everyone, I'm Silvia, the Savory Global Product Manager, and today I will introduce you to the sodium reduction topic, presenting you our ingredients offering. Sodium plays a very relevant role in food preparation. It adds the salty notes, but it can also boost flavors and enhance the sweetness of the sugary ingredients. Sodium can mask off notes such as bitterness. It is helpful to make some type of processed food more palatable. Sodium can be used to preserve freshness. Indeed, it can increase the shelf life and helps to prevent the growth of bacteria and other disease-causing agents. Sodium is widely used to improve the texture and the appearance of food. It makes the product seem fuller or thicker. It enhances the color and the hue. In processed meat, one of its purposes is to help retaining the moisture in the meat. In bread, it helps to stabilize the texture. It can prevent unwanted chemical changes of other ingredients in baked items. In cheese, it can help the cohesion. Our bodies require only a small amount of sodium each day to function normally. The 2015-2020 dietary guidelines for Americans recommend that Americans consume less than 2.3 grams of sodium per day as part of a healthy eating pattern. This amount is helpful to maintain the normal functionality of our body. It helps to maintain the body pressure, support the nerves and muscle works. It is key to regulate the body fluid balance. We need to be careful with sodium, and excessive intake can be unhealthy. In most people, the kidneys have trouble keeping up with excess sodium in the blood. As sodium accumulates, the body holds on to water to dilute the sodium. This increases both the amount of fluid surrounding cells and the volume of blood in the bloodstream. Increased blood volume means more work for the heart and more pressure on the blood vessels. Over time, the extra work and pressure can stiffen blood vessels, leading to high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke. It can also lead to heart failure. There are some evidences that too much salt can damage the heart, aorta, and kidneys without increasing blood pressure. It may be bad for bones too. Research shows that a higher intake of salt, sodium, or salty foods is linked to an increase in stomach cancer. The World Cancer Research Fund and the American Institute for Cancer Research concluded that salt, as well as salted or salty foods, are a probable cause of stomach cancer. The excessive sodium intake has been pointed out as a concern by the World Health Organization. The WHO member states have agreed in 2013 on a voluntary global NCD target for a 30% relative reduction in mean population intake of salt, with the aim of achieving a target of less than 5 grams of salt per day, which means approximately 2 grams of sodium by 2025. Cardiovascular diseases are the leading cause of death in the world. High blood pressure is the leading risk for mortality globally. People currently have difficulties limiting their intake of salt to the recommended amount, since in many countries most salt is added to the processed food and meals before purchase. In industrial countries, about 75 to 80% of dietary salt is obtained through processed food consumption. 5 to 10 is naturally occurring in the foods that make up the diet, and the remaining 10 to 15% come from salt added during cooking or at the table. In contrast, in developing countries, salt used for seasoning plays a much more relevant role. The food industry since some years is working to balance the need to produce healthier food by decreasing sodium levels and to offer consumers tasty and full-flavor sodium-reduced meals. Lallemand Bio-Ingredients can support the food industry in the sodium reduction efforts. Yeast extract and inactive yeast can contribute to round up or balance the taste of sodium-reduced formulation, thanks to the protein, peptones, and free amino acid content. We will see how useful could be selected ingredients from the High Life and Terra Vita range. Umami is the taste of savouriness, derived from the Japanese word umai, meaning delicious, nice, and palatable. It is represented by a meaty, brothy taste accompanied by a mouth-watering sensation. IMP and GMP were identified as umami substances. Ingredients with umami profile are key to enrich the flavor of sodium-reduced prepared meals. Foods that have a strong umami flavor include broth, gravies, soups, shellfish, preserved fish, tomatoes, mushroom, cheese, soy sauce, but also ingredients common in the food industry preparations such as HVP, meat extract, and yeast extracts. Looking into the savory portfolio, the series High Life is characterized by high nucleotide content. As we understood, the nucleotides such as IMP and GMP contribute to the umami profile of a meal, also providing a natural rounding up of the flavors. As we see in the graphic, the typical taste profile of High Life 566, as an example, contributes to mouthfulness, umami profile, and long-lasting perception. In sodium-reduced application, we recommend the selection of High Life 530A and 566A at a dosage starting from 0.2%. Toravita is a range of inactive and autolyzed yeast based on torula. Within this family of products, two ingredients are specifically designed for the sodium reduction, Toravita 028 SD and 029 SD. Toravita 028 SD and 029 SD combine sodium alternative salts, ammonium and potassium chloride, with the unique taste attributes of torula yeast. They provide salty taste without adding substantial sodium. At the same time, the ammonium and potassium chloride typical bitterness is masked by the co-process with torula yeast. Another option to improve and rebalance the taste of sodium-reduced meals is represented by Toravita 054. This product is a torula yeast autolyzed with a high natural content of nucleotides, and it contains also other natural flavor donators. It can be used to accentuate the mouthfulness and to balance the profile of sodium-reduced preparations. You would have the question on how much sodium can be reduced. The percentage of salt replacement without taste impairment depends on the application. With Lallemand ingredients, you would easily reach 30 to 50% of kitchen salt reduction. Higher levels of substitution are possible. Our experts are ready to support you in the selection of the most suitable ingredient for your sodium-reduced project. Of course, also the selection of the most suitable ingredient depends on the application. If you are working with a transparent matrix such as a vegetable bouillon, the yeast extract High Life 530A or 566A would be recommended as they are fully soluble. In this recipe example of Alfredo sauce, we could cut kitchen salt indicatively by 50%, resulting in a 25% less sodium in the sauce by using High Life 566A. More recipe can be found on the website www.bio-lallemand.com. Our sales managers and applied R&D experts will be happy to support you in your sodium-reduced projects. We will move now at the end of this presentation to a quick poll, for which I kindly ask you to choose the answer that represents your company better. At the end of this presentation day, we will have a time dedicated to question and answers. I remind you that you can type your questions in the chat. We will select some of them for the live Q&A and reply to all the questions in written form after this date. You will receive the list of answered questions in your mailbox. Thank you for your attention.